Hello, it's Face on Dev here. In this channel, I'm talking about my indie hacking journey, and today I want to show you how I'm deploying my app, what's the plan, what's the current status of it. So in order to deploy my app, I'm using Versal, and I need to admit that I have been using Azure for a few years to deploy my apps, but after watching how, for example, Peter Levels or Mark Lu, so the indie hacking professionalists are deploying their apps, I decided to use Versal. It's way easier. So here's how the process looks like. I'm pushing my changes into GitHub repository. I imported this repository, so I added connection in Versal, and my app is deployed. For now, everything is free. I don't know what is the pricing for Versal later, but at this time I'm only focused on have my app live and don't worry about thresholds. All in all, it will be way cheaper than Azure or AWS, so I'm fine with it. And yeah, this is the simple graph, how it looks like, and it was pretty easy to implement. So I can definitely recommend because in like few minutes I had my app live, and in comparison to Google, yes, to other cloud providers, it is way better. Coming back to this graph, I want to show you what are the steps to deploy the app from localhost, from development environment to prod. First of all, of course, locally, you don't have the custom domain. You see the localhost only. When you deploy your app in Versal, you will get the domain that ends with versal.app. And of course, it's not the best way to have your app registered. So you need to have your custom domain. In order to do this, you first need to buy the domain in some kind of domain provider and then register it through DNS in Versal. It isn't hard. It was easy to set up, but for me, it's still not working. So when I go to my project and domains, you will see that still it is not connected to my custom domain. The issue I found is that my domain provider has long time doing the DNS changes. So I read that I need to wait 24 hours to have these changes working. I hope it will work soon. So the next steps are the ones below. So first of all, Google Authentication. Currently, I created one. I had to create Google Developer account and add Google Auth entity to localhost. It all it all is about redirect URLs and have only so just to make it available for using your Google Auth only for your domain. So on localhost, that was localhost, and on prod, there will be my custom domain that can use this Google Auth functionality I created. So I need to create separate entity for prod. And for this case, it is really easy to do. So it is working right now. Second thing is database. So as you know, I'm using Supabase. I configure it locally, and it's good practice to don't mess your local test data with the actual prod data. So for Supabase, I will have to duplicate, so do the migration of existing database, the schema and all of the design to prod instance. It also shouldn't be that hard to do this. Then I just need to double check all the configuration that they should work with my prod version of the app. Then there is the most important part, Instagram API. So there I also created a developer account, and I'm using it right now in the dev mode. Also, it is configured to use the local host, and to use it in prod, I had to migrate, so I had to switch my dev mode to live mode, and that requires going through verification process. And yeah, I emphasize this because I think that might be the most crucial part of this whole process, because I heard that sometimes it is hard to be verified successfully by Instagram team. In order to like request this verification, I had to create privacy policy page, and also, yeah, a lot of legal stuff like terms of use and cookie policy. I already done this, but right now I'm waiting for my custom domain to be configured, and then I will just paste the address of my privacy policy and wait for verification. Hopefully it will be positive. And the third thing that was, in my opinion, also easy to set up is Stripe. I created also a developer account within dev mode. It works without any issues locally. So for Stripe, you have simulator. So they provided some test cards you can use in your process. Also, you have all of the logs in Stripe. You can test your webhooks. So locally, everything works fine. But of course, as for similar to Instagram, you need to go through verification process. In this case, I think that is less strict, or yeah, I will be doing this for the first time. But as I heard from my friends who had experience with it, Instagram part can be much harder to get. So yeah, hopefully it will work. So the current status is that waiting for my custom domain to be configured, and then I will request Instagram API review and also the Stripe. In the meantime, I'm migrating Supabase to prod, and Google Auth is already working. So hopefully in the next video, I will show you the fully working app. And for now, that's all. Thank you for your time, and see you in the next one.